And so I said, "Jumping Jehoshaphat." And she said, "Did you say my name?" I said, "No, Jehoshaphat, not Joe. The fat." She said, "I've not put on any weight." And comedy ensued.
Classic Joe.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome beyond the new to Doctor Review. I'm Chris.
And I am not Chris. Hi.
Hi, you need to speak up slightly.
Sorry.
The mic's further away this time.
I'm not Chris!
That's what I was just gesticulating off camera to say to you, like, talk louder, and you just started waving.
So I'm on Instagram, I'm not watching you.
See that, guys? She's not even remotely committed to this, and she hates you all. She told me. Isn't that true?
No comment.
Oh.
No, I'm joking.
The rules of improv dictate yes and, so you couldn't disagree for comedy reasons.
I'm also not listening now. What?
Wow. So, we've been carrying on our Doctor Who marathon. You know what, actually the lighting of the setup's not very nice. I'm going to change it around. But we've been carrying on our Doctor Who marathon. A little bit slower than usual. We've had various things. We went away on a family holiday during the gap and blah 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 blah.
I mean, hay fever makes you want to not do anything.
Yeah.
And it's bad this year. Thanks, Manchester.
Well, it's not Manchester's fault. It's global warming. Global warming, Joe. But we have got through Series 8 of Season 8 of Doctor Who. And pretty much as soon as we finish recording this, we're either going to start tonight or tomorrow with watching the Season 9. This is the second full series of the third Doctor. Season 9 we're up to after this. Yeah, and Season 9 has got an interesting one to start, a really fun one second, an absolute winner for its third one, and two that I'm not too huge on for the fourth and fifth, but maybe you'll like them. Who knows? I don't know.
Who
Yeah.
knows?
Drew! Doctor Who! He's a certified GP.
Dr. Whame.
Anywho, you might be wondering who these little fellas are down here. If you are, I'm surprised you're watching this video, but
I certainly am.
you know full well who they are. Let us talk about Doctor Who Season 8. Now, what were your impressions of the third Doctor last time? As a little recap for everybody. And last time, if I remember correctly, having recently rewatched the video because I was rendering it, you like him. You like the supporting characters, but you're not huge on the setting yet.
No, I'm struggling a bit, which is kind of contributing to why we are a little bit slow.
Well, yeah, I go, should we watch a couple more episodes of, flipping Mind of Evil? And you're going, maybe not tonight. One of the cats is, she's climbing into the Cracker Barrel bag.
Oh, for God's sake. That was a horrifying sound.
It was a bit. It sounded like flesh being rended from limb. The talons of Wen Chiang.
So I found it a bit difficult because it was the same old thing. Like, it's unit in a lab or an office on Earth, and it's a bit like, oh, how different and original. I get everything. That obviously he's been banished to Earth and stuff like that. And there's only so much you can do with that. But it was still a bit like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, it means that you've got to make your earthbound. You've got to make your earthbound problems more kind of interesting. You've got to go around the route of one of our favourite shows, Buffy, and shows like X-Files, where it's like it's on Earth and weird stuff is happening on Earth, and the characters have to deal with it. But it is a little. I can see why people, yourself included, have a bit of a disconnect with this one because our main character is like, I don't want to be here. It's like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like, yeah, if you don't want to be here, then can we go? So he's not just moaning all the time.
He doesn't have to be here. You can write him not to be here.
It's true. But, see, I think it swings and roundabouts because the unit and Earthbound era gives you some amazing things and it gives you some samey things. The amazing thing it gives you is the supporting cast, who were really fun last series. And this series, Yates has an expanded role.
Yeah.
The Brigadier is, of course, still throughout the whole thing.
Brigadier is sass.
We have lost Liz Shaw. We discussed last video why Caroline John's character was dropped and the fact that it kind of sucked, really, that was the reason. So, she's just a bit too clever. We need somebody...
Absolute BS.
Yeah, well, it was partially because they were like, we need somebody who's more the audience surrogate, like, what does that mean then? And the Doctor explains it, which I agree with. You do kind of need that with these characters. But you could very easily have just made it so that Liz Shaw was asking about that in regards to the weirder shit. Or have her and the Doctor explaining stuff to the Brigadier. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know how you could get around that?
How?
Bring back Jamie.
Oh, bloody hell. No, his memories of the Doctor are all completely gone and he was returned back to the Highlands.
Well...
Moments after he was originally taken.
Turn it round and...
No, don't.
Do it.
No. But, as I said to you last time, I said, because you said you quite like Liz.
I do like Liz.
Yeah. I said to you, don't you worry, because the loss of Liz is bad, but you don't lose an element of the show that's really entertaining, because when we get Jo, you're going to meet someone else that I think you're really going to like. Now that you have watched Series 8, what do you think of Jo Grant?
I actually love her.
She's great, isn't she?
I think she's fab.
She's great. The lovely Katie Manning joins the series in the first story,
Hooray!
Terror of the Autons, a sequel to last series, Spearhead from Space.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry, what?
Oh my goodness. It's, I definitely think the previous Auton story was so much better. It was so much more fun. But this one was okay, I guess.
I think the difference is, this is Aliens to Spearhead's Alien. Spearhead is a straightforward concept. The only thing that's sort of a bit like, oh, this is a bit much about it, is organic anyway, because it's the introduction of the new Doctor and setting. Yeah. So the whole thing is an introductory story with a simple, streamlined plot.
The simple one.
Yes. But you know what I mean? It's like, the main story is the Doctor arriving on Earth, the Brigadier dealing with it, and them getting to know what that means going forward. Yeah. That's the main story.
Yeah.
The alien threat is the plot, but it's not what we're there for, and that's why it's so relatively simple.
Yeah.
The Nestines need a polluted planet to survive. They're going to use plastic stuff to kill everybody off. Slowly do it by replacing world leaders to help with the pollution and the
cool.
Thing. And then the Nestines will just own the planet. That's the plot. So killer dummies, squid in a machine. This time it's the same sort of. It's the Nestine consciousness.
Oh, was that the last one?
That was the last one. Oh, this one, the Nestine consciousness. I
was thinking to myself, that was really good. I really enjoyed that.
This is where the Nestine consciousness is still alive in fragments, and it needs help to broadcast itself as a signal to the planet.
Yeah.
And it has an ally. Someone is helping the Nestine this time. Someone from outer space. Someone who the Time Lords feel fit to show up to the Doctor to warn him that, yep, just so you know, somebody is here, a rogue one of us lot.
Was that tiny little Time Lord that just like pops?
Well, he wasn't tiny, he was far away. And then he floated. These cows are small. Those cows far away.
I walked into that one then. I knew what I was trying to say, but it just didn't quite well. Yeah, that was quite amusing.
The idea that he disguised himself to fit in on Earth and not stand out by wearing like a business suit and a bowler hat and a briefcase and an umbrella, but appeared floating above a field near the radio tower.
Yeah.
And the Doctor was supposed to be like, seriously, get over it. And he's like, alright. And he comes closer. It's like, he was so close to blending in, apart from the fact that he's floating 50 feet above the ground. So they are being aided by a rogue Time Lord who is helping put the Auton products this time back into production. And this is what I said when this one's Aliens. It's last time it was your shop window dummies.
Yeah.
This time it's much more than that. There's lots more to deal with. You have the children's toy prototype. You have some houseware, which we will discuss in detail in a short while. You have the mascots with the big doll heads giving out the plastic flowers to people, which then suffocate them with a film over the mouth. You have the new cables that are installed with plastic fittings from the factory that can like strangle people down the phone.
People just loving plastic.
Like you've got, this is where they experiment with the idea of the Autons. And this is the story where like either, I guess like myself, I really enjoy this one, or like yourself, you're just like, what was it that made you go, behind you, with this one? Was it the Auton stuff, do you think?
No, I think maybe it was a bit too soon to do another Auton story.
Mayhaps. I mean, I think they shake it up enough, though, right? To stop it from being the same story.
It was not. It was nowhere near as interesting, in my opinion.
Do you know what I think? And it sounds daft, like, because the Autons are barely in the show ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's 3 Auton stories. There's Spearhead from Space, Terror of the Autons, and Rose. they pop up in flashbacks and they pop up as part of stories after Rose. Off the top of my head, they're in flashbacks in Love of Monsters. They rock up in Pandorica Opens The Big Bang as the Roman Centurions, which is a great reveal.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, that's a great reveal.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my god, even they're not real. They're literally Auton facsimiles.
Oh, I didn't know that they appeared so...
Little.
Yeah.
They're one of the most sort of celebrated visual monsters of Doctor Who.
Are they a big fan favourite?
And they are barely in it.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's kind of...
Trade some Dalek stories with someone's bloody.
Well, that's the thing. They could get samey if you just did the shop window dummies again and again.
Yeah.
They work perfectly for Rose. Russell T Davies picked them for Rose because of Spearhead from Space.
Yeah.
Because he knew that the monster shouldn't be the focus of the story.
Yeah.
And they worked perfectly when they were introduced because they were a great wraparound story for our characters who were the important thing to deal with.
I think also that's good because that's a villain that could work no matter what era you're in. Obviously,
as long as you're like from the mid 20th century onwards.
Yeah.
You can do a lot with the Autons.
Exactly.
Which is why I would like you, if you get a chance, to read between your 400 Patrick Troughton novels that you bought, to read, I've got upstairs, the 10th Doctor book from the BBC Books range called Autonomy, which is really fun. It's set in a super shopping mall in like 2035 in Australia, and it's a 10th Doctor story set during the specials year, so it's him on his own with the characters that he meets in the story. But it's really good, because they do some weird, freaky things with the Autons, especially because... Like, when you see the Autons in Rose breaking out the shops, you sort of see a glimpse of them coming out of malls and stuff when they're on the street. The freakiest use of them in that is when they're in the basement near like Wilson's office at the start. That's the freakiest use of them in that episode, I think. And all the detached body part stuff. But in Autonomy, they do some really weird stuff in a place that you could imagine being like the Trafford Centre or the Westfield.
Oh, yeah.
And like with sort of the black latexy plastic look and everything.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I'll have to remind you of that at some point. Be like, honey, read this book. It's good.
I have a bit of a thing with
mannequins. Yeah.
And I can't help it, but I find myself staring at them when I go through shops, just in case they move.
I was like that for a good nearly 2 decades because of Spearhead from Space.
Yeah, that made it worse.
Yeah.
It was kind of, now I'm 28, since it was a traumatic moment in my childhood. I was thinking, yeah, I'm kind of getting out of this now. Kind of getting more accepting. No.
Yeah.
Doctor Who.
Question.
Doctor Who.
Do you think you didn't enjoy this one as much because to you it wasn't as scary because there was only like a couple of mannequins in it? The rest of them were very specific things. Like that doll. That doll is meant to be terrifying.
I just remembered it.
Oh, you've remembered the because this is like last series. This is where.
Oh my god! Yeah.
This is where the chroma key and the green screen really starts to come into use in the show.
2 words I would describe this series of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Synth.
Yes.
And green screen. That's 2 words. 3 words.
Chroma key.
Oh my god! They absolutely love it. They love it.
That doll has some moments where it moves, and it's obviously a full-sized actor in full-size costume, and they've chroma keyed it into the stills or zoomed in shots of like the car seat or the sofa. And there's some moments where the actor performing it moves, and it is this stiff sort of movement.
Yeah.
And then there's other times where they just sort of scramble up and stand up, and it ruins how scary it could be.
It does.
But scary stuff happens to our leads in this, and this is very much a baptism of fire for Jo. Like, she starts this story, she gets hypnotised, she gets strangled, she nearly blows everyone up with a bomb in a suitcase. Like, welcome to Doctor Who, Jo. Your life is screwed. Like, you are going to be put in danger all the time. But what's really nice about
it's like from off the bat.
Well, that's true, and then sticks around. She's like, no, like, we're doing good, and I'm going to help out. She's not the brightest bulb in the tree, but she's such a good person. I think Katie Manning lends so much to Jo as a character. She's just lovely. She's lovely, and also very loyal as well.
I'm loving the 70s fashion.
Oh, you complimented every single one of her outfits. You were like, damn, she looks amazing.
She does look fab.
Yeah.
That's
Jo. She looks
Jo
cute as a freaking button.
Society. Let me join.
The Jo Grant Appreciation Society. Later, Jo Jones. She remarries long after the events of her time in Doctor Who, as we find out in Sarah Jane Adventures, The Death of the Doctor. Her name is Jo Jones, continuing Russell T Davies' tradition of having characters with the surnames Smith and Jones in a thing. Sarah Jane Smith.
He's a cutie.
Jo Jones. He's great. And do you know what? We are going to... we'll see. We'll see. When we get up to Joe's last story on the DVDs, one of the bonus features on the version I have is there is the option to watch Death of the Doctor in the bonus features.
Oh, really?
Because it was released after that series of Sarah Jane came out, but it's the version I saw at the BFI when I saw it.
Episode?
Well, yeah, because there's two parts of it. It's the version I saw at the BFI when I saw the screening of it, where it's edited into 1 hour.
Right.
And there's an option to watch it with audio commentary with Russell T Davies and Katie Manning.
Adorbs.
So I'm tempted. I'm trying to figure out whether or not, because it's 2 seasons time, I'm trying to figure out whether or not we should watch Death of the Doctor and watch it with the commentary for a bonus little mini episode for this, or whether we should save that for when we get to Sarah Jane, like, next year.
Are you watching Sarah Jane?
Oh, God, yeah. Are you kidding me? Sarah Jane Adventures in Torchwood. Thing is, when we get to the modern era... We've already talked about this. When we get to the modern era, we're getting to, like, 45-minute episodes of television. We're going to blast through it. Yeah. We're going to get through a series of Tennant in, like, a week.
Also, I don't know if we mentioned it, but I have an unpopular opinion of Sarah Jane in that I don't like her.
Still?
No. Yeah. And
which is weird, because...
Right, please don't attack me. I'm really sorry. I don't want to feel like this. Because I'm hoping... I'm really hoping that watching Doctor Who from the beginning, from where she's introduced and all the episodes, that I'm going to really like her. And I have a feeling that I really am going to like her. But from watching it
for context for this lot, who know my habits, you didn't watch Sarah Jane Adventures. You've seen some of it, but you weren't like a Sarah Jane Adventures viewer. So... yeah, I don't know why you don't like it. Don't go into it. We'll talk about it when we get to season 11.
I'm very, very sorry. I feel like we may have lost
you're gonna change your mind.
I really hope
I promise you now, you are going to change your mind.
There's just certain characters in whatever. It doesn't matter what it's in. If they do one thing that annoys me, and that's the end.
She's weird.
I know. I'm so sorry. I'm ashamed of myself.
Well, speaking of new characters and whether they annoy you or not, this story, of course, is also the introduction of the Master.
Oh my god.
Played by Roger Delgado to delectable levels of suave villainy.
He is just fabulous.
He's great, isn't he?
He is fabulous.
He is great.
He's glorious.
This is the Master to me.
He is breathtaking.
You're breathtaking. That'll date this video.
Yeah, I'm just anxious, sorry.
Because when it comes out, that'll be a whisper in the past.
It already is.
I don't get me wrong. I love Anthony Ainley. I think Jeffrey Beavers and Peter Pratt do a great job as the charred up, crispy Master. I love the John Sim version across Utopia, Sound of Drums, Last of the Time Lords. Works so well. The glimpse of Jacoby in the show is really bloody nice. Nobody point out all the Big Finish audios. I've not listened to them. I'm not planning on listening to them. I'm talking about the show.
Don't do it, guys.
Michelle Gomez gets some really cool moments as the Master, as the Missy incarnation.
Oh, evil Mary Poppins.
But I'm not in love with that version, mostly because of that era. I'm not a big fan of that era.
Oh, you've just reminded me that we are going to get to that.
In like 2 years.
Oh, God.
But...
You never know, I might change my opinion.
Eric Roberts is entertaining as hell in the TV movie. He's terrible, but in a good, like, enjoyably terrible way.
What is it he said?
I always dress for the occasion.
Dress for the occasion. It's wonderful.
If people always say, like, oh, God, that Master was totally ruined it for me. It's like, well, if he ruined it for you, go watch The Dark Knight and just watch the bit where he drops him from the balcony and shatters his kneecaps over and over again. Just chase off right up. Fall from this height, wouldn't kill me. I'm counting on it. Drops him off the balcony, shatters his kneecaps.
Oh.
It was Ramirez.
Okay, we're talking about Doctor Who here?
Yeah, sure. I love Delgado's Master.
Yeah,
he's my favourite Master. He and John, their rapport is wonderful. And of course, this series, spoiler alert, is the Master series. He is in every story of this season. He is the arch villain of this season, either as the main antagonist or as the creepy bastard taking advantage of the situation to his own end. What did you think of the Master?
I thought he was great.
What do you like about him?
His facial expressions, the way he looks at things. It's like, I'm in control. I'm better than you, and I know it. You know it. I'm great.
Who the hell are you? I'm usually referred to as the master.
It's that eyebrow.
Yeah, oh, the almost unflinching eyebrows.
Fad eyebrows.
Like that sort of... That stare that can go from hypnotic to I'm going to put you up in a second. Like he's got that look about him where he just conveys so much with a static expression.
Yeah.
And the tone of his voice.
Yeah.
He's great. And again, like we were watching behind the scenes stuff because I wanted to see, but there was one master featurette which I've avoided showing you because it's all about the history of the character and I don't want you to see too many stories going forward. But in that they talk about like he was created to be a Moriarty to the Doctor's Sherlock Holmes.
That comes through.
These two specifically, yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry, Min, will you stop tooting?
Yeah, she's fine, quite a bit.
Your butt stinks.
The Nestines could live in her arse.
Good job, she's cute, innit?
A little tentacle comes out of her arse. So, yeah. I like Terror of the Autons quite a lot. It's the episode that infamously got the show like discussed a lot in government, and was it Mary Whitehouse had flipped a lid because of all the violence in it. Because there are some scary scenes.
Yeah.
The bits that were highlighted in particular were the bit where the doll comes to life and of course strangles the guy. I like the idea that the weapons only activate under extreme heat.
Why did that? Because they left it on the radiator. What person puts a doll on a radiator?
Well, someone turns the heat, don't they? And then that's the idea. It comes to life and kills them. But also the scene where the police are escorting the Doctor and Joe away, and the policeman doesn't respond, and the Doctor rips the face off the policeman.
That's scary.
Yeah,
that is creepy.
Especially when the stunt guy goes like topples down the hill, and then just gets straight back up.
No, that guy, he go over his head.
Yeah. And then just gets straight back up, and it's this is creepy.
I can't remember. Is it this series or the previous one where we're learning that Doctor Who uses quarries a lot?
I'd say this series. So there's a bit of it in the Silurians, but not that much, and a bit of Inferno, but not that much. This series it appears in pretty much nearly every story. There's something in a quarry or in a field.
Does it happen in every series? Is there a quarry in pretty much every series?
No, but there's a reason why the show is infamously mocked for using quarries quite a lot.
Bloody quarries.
It will not stop.
It is a quarry.
It will not stop. Like the quarries will not stop.
No.
We just couldn't tell there were quarries last series before last because they were in black and white. So yes, Terror of the Autons. Lou wasn't a huge fan, but I think we can both agree that the most sinister bit in the episode was also the most stupid bit in the episode, which was the chair.
It was great.
It's proper creepy. The idea that the plastic would smother someone to death, and that last shot is creepy, where it's just like folded around him and he stops moving. That's really spooky. It's the shot before, which I had to rewind 3 times because you were pissing yourself laughing at it.
But I think is though, you were waiting for it. Have you seen this book?
Yes. I feel this came out on DVD eventually in 2011. It was one of the later ones to get released in a box set called Mannequin Mania with the special edition of Spirit from Space.
God.
It's the only way to get this in that box set. But I wanted to revisit it so badly after having seen it on UK Gold at some point when I was a kid. That I bought it on iTunes in 2010.
Wow.
So I've watched this quite a lot because it's this and Spearhead are the only 2 classic Who stories that were on my iPod.
I feel like you knew what was going to come.
Yes.
And you knew how I was going to react.
Oh, yes.
So you were kind of watching me from the corner of your eye. Thing is, though, the end of this story was a bit pants because the Master absolutely cocked out. The Doctor was like...
Yeah, you hated that.
The Doctor was like, oh, if they're against us, they're going to be against you too.
It's like, how do you know they're going to actually take care of you? And he's like, oh,
you're right.
It's like, oh, yeah.
You're right.
And then he makes his getaway.
God.
He makes a devious getaway after some disguise use and all that. And the tissue compression eliminator makes its first appearance in that story when he shrinks down the guys in the tower and literally hides the body in the lunchbox.
Oh, yeah.
Some spooky stuff in there.
Screen.
So, the Doctor steals the Master's, oh my god, what is it called?
Little thing.
Oh my god, you know exactly what I'm talking about though, don't you?
That little thing.
The little doohickey. He nicks it, meaning the Master is trapped on Earth. It's gonna get right on my tits, that. The Master is trapped on Earth, which leads us to the events of the Mind of Evil, which is set, I believe, is it like a year later? It's some time later, isn't it? The idea is that time has passed.
I took it as a couple of months.
Might be. I can't remember that. I'm sure there's a mention in there somewhere of like the Master business, that was blah 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 ago. And I was like, oh my god, that's quite a while. But by this point, Joe and the Doctor are on it, like a car bonnet. They're doing really good together. I had not seen this one before we watched it. I've had this DVD a while, but I've not watched it before. Can you remember the plot of The Mind of Evil?
Nope.
The Mind of Evil has the United Nations delegacy all meeting to talk about this, what to do disposing with the nuclear warheads. Meanwhile, the Chinese delegate's assistant / head of security is behaving really strangely. Also at the prison, a machine has been developed that apparently removes the evil urges from inside the mind of violent criminals.
Turns bad to good.
Yeah. What ends up happening is it turns out the master is behind both plots. He's the inventor of the machine and the guy who is mind controlling the Chinese delegate security person to murder the American one and
to cause a huge
to basically get hold of the nuclear warheads. To make sure they end up going to a safe place, which he will then of course hijack and make sure they come to him because he wants to hold the world to ransom. Because by this point we learn that basically all he wants is to be the master of something. Because his philosophy, which I think we find out in Axos, his philosophy is, if you are not the master of something, you are a servant to something.
Ooh.
That's his philosophy. He's like, if I'm not in charge, what is the point?
Yeah.
So he is full on super evil. Which is great because then when you flash forward to Utopia and Sound of Drums, it's oh my god, he gets it. He finally gets it. That's horrible. I love that story.
Horrifying.
So yeah, that's it. That's his bag. So he's doing this because he is also experimenting with the idea of evil. But the problem for the master is he's misunderstood just how well this machine is going to work. Because if I remember correctly, there's a consciousness in it, isn't there? There's a being in it as part of it that he's using, and that is stronger than he realised. Because people are, and this was the coolest part of this story to me. People are seeing things they are afraid of and dying from them. Like the guy drowns, and his lungs are filled with water, but the room wasn't filled with water.
Yeah.
So it's how the hell did that happen? It's almost like the hallucination becomes real enough to kill them. And that was cool. The doctor, we find out, is terrified of burning to death, and he feels like he's on fire, and it's this is horrifying. There's a guy who dies from rats. It's just with all the rat bites on him.
Yeah.
That was great. I love that. The machine was projecting evil, basically. So this story becomes a little bit of a base under siege once the prison set becomes the main location.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because it's not just there's a monster attacking us. It's the inmates have taken over the asylum, and it's up to our small security cast and the Doctor and Joe to try and deal with it, while the Brigadier's trying to deal with it externally and the warhead stuff. Do you remember what you didn't like about the story?
Yeah, I thought it was really creepy. The thought of people, of rehabilitation. What was the kind of... Was it to scare them out of being...
No, it takes the evil out of them, unquote. And the Doctor's that's BS. It's not you don't just do that. There's something dangerous about this. Yeah, he was sassy
talking all the way through it. Naughty. But, yeah, I thought that was really scary. And I just thought the whole idea of it was really, really good. It could have done with not being so long. Yeah, this was one of those where it was a 6-parter, I think. Yeah, 6-part. Hi. It could have been a 4-parter. Yeah, it really didn't need to be that long.
I don't think there was anything bad in it, but it just plodded a bit.
Yeah.
What did you think of the Chinese dragon killing the American guy in the hotel room? That vision? That was pretty freaky.
That was freaky.
The master just chilling in the back of a taxi with a mind-controlled driver and smoking a cigar, watching his machinations play out as he sets everything up.
Yes.
It's pretty cool. I'm trying to think of other stuff in there that visually was just really, really nice. When the Brigadier and the unit lot, when he disguises himself and they come into the prison and they storm it. Or he's putting on that sort of that little Cockney accent, or he's just sort of...
Something I absolutely love is not only the Brigadier...
She loves this genuinely and ironically. Here we go.
I love the Brigadier.
I know exactly where this is going.
And I love Unit. I think they're fab. I think all the characters in it are really good. Because they all have their own little personalities, which is amazing. Because a lot of shows, if it's a unit... they're all they're all the same, really. You don't really see any emotions or any stories with them, but anyway.
You get quite a bit from Benton and Yates and the Brigadier and Joe, and other little characters who pop up, like Osgood, who shows up in the Dæmons and stuff. You get quite a lot of...
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of when I said that, but... also, they're all really bad at fighting. They
get some kick-ass moments.
They do. No, they do. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But these people, both UNIT and the people that fight against, are shocking at aim. Because they all just go into these super awesome... Brigadier, but like, foremost, gets into a great position to shoot. Crouching, superhero kind of stuff. And it's like, how can you miss him?
Stormtrooper logic.
How can you miss him?
Stormtrooper logic, that's
He's
how.
right there. And this was rife of it, but there was some pretty epic falls.
Yeah, some good pratfalling going on.
But I just think it looks like a load of kids playing Laser Quest, you know what I mean? That's what it looks like to me.
I'll take that.
No, I really enjoyed this one, and there was a cute little documentary afterwards, wasn't there, about the
we looked at the location documentary. Yeah. What was it called? The Military Mind. A look at the making of the story. Oh, the one where they were interviewing the actors and stuff, and they were wandering around the location. Yeah. And
I like that Jo got really... There was a lot of humanity for Jo in this episode, because she really connected with the prisoner that...
Yeah, the guy he was very much a Flowers for Algernon kind of character. In Flowers for Algernon, that story, the guy who's not very bright is made incredibly intelligent. In this one, it's that whole thing of an aggressive person is made into this gentle
he doesn't understand what's happening.
Yeah. Although you get the sense that he's not going to return to his evil ways, which is like, well, at least the story didn't end with him turning into a monster, so that's fine. But... yeah, even though it's still creepy that his mind was violated to turn him into what he is now, at least he is a nice person. There's some weird morality stuff in this that actually I think adds to the creepiness. For my first viewing, I really enjoyed the Mind of Evil. This is
also the episode, I think, where Jo has been kidnapped by that... she keeps getting kidnapped, doesn't she, really? And they're going down those stairs. Do you remember in the prison?
Yeah.
Is it this episode?
Yes, it is. Oh my god, yes it is.
And the guy...
the cable. When they're taking her... The guy's taking her and the doctor down the stairs at gunpoint.
You want it?
No, it's just because you were still on it. Paying a lot of money for that cable.
Sorry, the guy had his arm round her neck.
Well, no, it was the moment before he's got the gun behind them and they're walking down. And she's like, "Now, doctor!" And she just falls backwards onto him.
Backwards, and it's like, God, that's such a great idea. She's so clever.
Yeah,
but she's like street smart.
She's ditzy, but she's not an idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what's nice about Jo. She's lovably dim.
That was pretty.
But
badass.
she's not a moron. Which is again, I think why a lot of people love Jo, because it almost seemed like a regression of, we're going back to just the woman sidekick thing that a lot of 60s television had done, that Doctor Who is sort of accused of doing. Not really. All the characters have substance, but some of them are put in positions where you're like, well, that's unnecessary.
They all have their purpose.
Yeah, and Jo's not... She's not thick.
Not at all.
She's daft, but she's not thick.
But she can handle herself in a situation. And
especially in a prison. Well, Jo gets to really deal with some horrible stuff. The first time I think she actually gets horrified is in this story, where you can actually see her being like, "Oh my god!" And it is the Claws of Axos. This should be more gross, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, there's some great stuff in here. Like, the essential idea is the ship lands and these creatures, these golden buggers, show up and they're like, yes, like, we just need to repair our ship, and thank you for not firing at us. We need to do some repairs, this, that, and the other. If you give us the things we need, in return we will give you, what was it called? Was it called Axonite or something like that? Which was, basically it was their, like, this is our mineral, it can be used to transform into anything it needs to.
Yeah.
And you can use it to, you know, look after yourself.
Heal, weaponise.
Yeah. And there's a guy from the British government who's under the thumb of his bosses, who's very sort of like, I don't know, I'm going to deal with this and this and the other. And he's like, yes, well, okay, we'll do it. I agree to help you, but you have to give it completely to British jurisdiction. And all this stuff. And it's like the politics starts to invade the peaceful transaction. But the Doctor and Jo and the Brigadier from the very top are like, this doesn't seem
right.
Like, something is off here. And the Doctor's very savvy. Like, he sort of drops hints when he's talking to them of things that they can't quite answer. Or they avoid answering, and it just makes his suspicion grow. They're not alone, though, because there's a gentleman already imprisoned on the ship who apparently helped get them here, who helped point out Earth to them in exchange for part of the takeover, which is the Master. So already this one started with the Master involved in the villain's plot, but he's on the back foot.
About now, he should be coming out going like, "Hey,
Doctor, it's me!
Doctor
Doctor! Well, he does in the next one, sort of, a little bit. Well, in the next one, we'll get to Colin in Space, but in the next one he has a moment where he's like Loki's Odin in Ragnarok, where he goes, "Oh shit!" Like, there's a moment like that in the next one where you're like, "Oh yeah." Bring your passport, kids. Always have your space passport on you.
Space passport.
So the Master's sort of already on the back foot on this one. Like, he's at a disadvantage. He's been promised something, but from the moment the Doctor starts to interact with him, he's like, "Yeah, seriously, you are not going to benefit in this situation. You need to get out. Like, you may as well help us." The Axons take on this golden, beautiful form that's humanoid and almost like a Greek statue, or they've got that sort of hair and the tone of the skin and all this, that, and the other. But really, what do they look like, Boo? Lou's pointing. You can't see her hand. But she's pointing at this dude.
Is that right? Can you see?
Sure. Whatever.
Fleshy man.
Whatever.
Do you know what?
Your finger and goosebump. Go on.
I thought,
ooh.
I thought they looked really
good.
Yeah. Can I just see them? Just 1 second.
This guy?
No. On the bottom.
Oh, my goodness.
I thought, do you know what? I thought that was actually really good. Really scary.
What, the...
That might just be me, though.
What look? The golden
the gold look. Because it was kind of like, it made me think of...
It's just off kilter. It's not quite right. You said Bioshock. It reminded you of Bioshock in some way.
Did I?
Yeah, I can't remember why. Was it probably? It might have been like the regal iconography, the idea of like, look at this ideal, but it's actually quite perverse.
Maybe.
I think you even compared them to the President robots in Infinite, maybe.
That maybe.
Yeah. Like, just the idea of this thing that looks sort of like, regal and proper and prim.
Kind of uncanny valley kind of thing.
Yeah.
I just think, for that time, the makeup was fab because it was... I keep saying that, I do apologise.
The makeup was fab?
No, just I keep saying fab.
I hate these videos.
I never say that.
The girl in it, she just keeps saying the makeup was fab.
I'm so sorry.
Like, how dare you? She's a woman.
The Carry
on, woman.
The eyes are obviously very... it's just gold, like a statue. And from, like, just where the nose is up to the head is a mask. And it's very well hidden, but I only noticed because I was staring at it and it was creeping me out. And I just think that looks really cool. That's a great design.
Axonite, of course, is actually part of their...
Maybe it's like them... Maybe it's them looking into the world history and seeing like statues that look like that, so they're like, oh, that must be what they think looks good,
or like what the gods look like,
so
or what
we will look like
right.
this, and it's like, no.
Well, we know that the no is their overall
Embrace
thing.
your real you.
Because it's the Axons, the Axons source Axonite that they wish to spread to the whole world. And they have a time period. They have to get it done by a certain time for their plan to work, which is why they're determined to rush it out there. Is actually going to help terraform and screw up the Earth so that they can use it. Because as we find out, the Axons aren't necessarily a race. It's like it's a virus. It's a parasite. These are just forms it takes. It wants to grow across that world. They have colonised hundreds of worlds by doing this, which is a great and grim idea.
Well, there's one moment
which is sort of homaged in a later Sarah Jane Adventure story. Actually, The Gift is very much reminiscent of this one, featuring the Blathereen.
There's the main guy,
and that's exactly what you think it is.
Oh.
The Blathereen.
What am I thinking of?
I don't know. I say Blathereen. What comes to mind?
A Blathereen. I don't know.
Is it a Doctor Who alien called a Blathereen? Or Blathereen.
Like a bladder and a tangerine.
No, they're orange Raxacoricophalopatorians.
Oh, I got the tangerine thing. Almost. It's orange, isn't it?
The orange Slitheen, basically.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it actually a Slitheen just painted orange?
Yeah, well, they're made from the thingy up. I believe the suits were mostly reconstructed, but they're not Slitheen. They are Blathereen. They're a different family, which are a good family. unless you've read The Monsters Inside, the Ninth Doctor and Rose book, in which case you know the Blathereen are a separate criminal sect of the Slitheen family.
So is that a species then?
The species is Raxacoricophalopatorians. Yeah. The Slitheen are a family.
Yeah.
So they're a crime family. They're the Raxacoricophalopatorian mafia, basically.
Yeah. But they come in different colours.
Well, the implication is Raxacoricophalopatorians aren't all green. They're different colours.
That's funny though.
Because the ones in Sarah Jane have a deeper green skin than the ones in Doctor Who, for example.
They're not Slitheen though, are they? They're part of the Slitheen family.
Yeah, see, when we get to Sarah Jane Adventures and you watch the first story, the first full story from Series 1, you'll get it. Because in that they explain why they're a Slitheen in that story.
Doesn't the Doctor say that they are Slitheen?
When?
In the episode where you meet them.
No, that's what they introduce themselves as. They are Slitheen. And then during that story they discuss, that's not their species, that's just their family.
Oh,
that's
really?
Their name.
I don't recall that.
Yeah.
Oh, my mind is...
Because Raxacoricophalopatorians are a predatory race. They're a very aggressive, sort of war-based, hunting-based kind of species. But buttery biscuit base. But they, the Slitheen are like an exception in terms of like they are nasty. They're a crime syndicate.
Yeah.
They do horrible things.
How do they pick things up?
Well, I'm presuming on their planet, the things they pick up are much bigger in general, so they just sort of scoop them up in their big old claws. Like these little buggers! Ooh, little claws! Ooh, little like some claws!
I was just going to mention that it's creepy that it's like a one being thing.
Yeah.
And it just separates itself into these little like flesh mounds. But there's a moment which creeped me out. Where it separates into like these three people. So there's the main guy, and then there's two women, I think.
Yeah.
And after the humans have gone from the inside of their ship, they like absorb back into the wall.
Yes.
Like,
that's why I was like, this story should be
horrid.
more gross, because all the tenderly fleshy exterior of the ship is gross, but due to watching it on big tellies now,
yeah,
you can kind of see that's a claw
again.
Yeah, but also like that's someone's arm in a claw puppet, and you know what I mean. Like the wall isn't writhing. The wall should if the vines and everything on the wall were just kind of pulsing and writhing, it would really sell how fleshy it is. Great. But to be fair, I think that's why these guys look like this. So that when you see these guys, you're like, oh my god, the ship's made from that. I really like Claws of Axos. I think it's fun, and I think it benefits from being a 4-parter.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, it does it a good service because it's nice and doit.
Axon.
Axe off. That's
Thanks, Phil.
Five Who fans quote there from Phil Flitier.
That was very funny.
We're on to another 6-parter, which if I remember correctly, going into this, you were like, oh god, sick, and then by the end of it, you said this was weirdly one of your favourite ones of the series, but on reflection, do you feel like it could have been shorter? Colony in space.
Definitely.
This is the first time the Doctor has gone off-world since the Third Doctor's era has begun, because the Time Lords, and they never explain. This is never told to him, is it? This is never explained to him. The Time Lords are aware of some interference somewhere that he could deal with, and so they trigger his TARDIS, and they send him to this colony in space. They never explain it, and it's only in like part 5 does it become. End of part 4, to go into part 5, does it become obvious why he's been chosen to do it.
Yeah.
Basically, we're at a time in human history where the Earth's screwed and everyone's moved on to different planets and this, that and the other. I don't know if it's the same century as all the spaceship stuff that comes up later on in Doctor Who stories where like whole countries and cities and stuff leave the planet on a spaceship and everything, which is in the classic era and the modern era. I don't know if this takes place in that same time. The idea is that human colonies are landing on different planetoids and setting up civilizations. The problem is there's an overriding government that are in charge of everybody, and unless it's under their jurisdiction, they're not happy about it.
Yeah.
So colonisers go to the planets and settle on the land, make deals with the species that are there to live, this, that, and the other. But if that company wants to come there and mine the planet for its energy sources so they can make more money, they will get rid of that colony ASAP. What we have here is basically Scooby-Doo in space, because a monstrous force is attacking and killing people in the colony, and the Doctor uncovers it to be the evil corporation pretending that there is a monstrous force doing this to try and scare everyone away.
What I'm confused about is that the big monster that they saw
the giant lizard
was a giant lizard.
Yeah.
Now, they've come from Earth, which I'm assuming still has lizards, because they've been here since prehistoric
Possibly.
times.
I mean, they always refer to Earth as not as a horrible place to be. It's barren and desolate. So maybe they don't. But they refer to it as a lizard at one point, so they know what they are.
But they're not like, oh, how did we not see these giant lizards before? Oh, maybe it's not what we think it is.
Well, to be fair, they've only attacked a couple of times, and it's been targeted attacks, and it's only ever left like one survivor from a colony. But he declared that the natives, because there's a native species to the planet, that they turned on his colony and murdered them. So you've got that element to it as well, but then the main crux of the story, Act 3, episodes 4, 5 and 6, are about the colonisers and the company, the corporation, legally waiting for a clearance as to who can claim this planet, who can be there, waiting for an official adjudicator from the government to arrive. And that's when you realise why the Doctor has been chosen to deal with this, because the adjudicator is an imposter, and it's the Master.
Surprise, surprise!
Who has his Odin Ragnarok oh shit moment when he spots the Doctor and Joe. He's just like, oh, because this is for the first time in 4 stories. He is not expecting them to be there. Like, he's off-world in the future. Like, they should not be there, but somehow they're there. And
is he not like, oh?
Well, I love how they basically duck into the office at the earliest opportunity, like the office in the hangar.
Yeah.
And the Doctor's like, the hell do you think you're playing at? And he's like, what do you care? Like, go away. and he's like, the Doctor basically is like, right, okay, so, like, as far as they're concerned, you're the adjudicator. And he's like, yeah, I've taken every precaution. Like, you're not going to prove to them that I'm not. And he's like, do you have the necessary papers? The Master's like, I do. Forged, of course. And it's like, are they completely unwaivable? And the Master's like, if they do not look close enough or investigate much further, which they will not, then yes, they will be perfectly satisfactory. Do you have any papers? Do you have identification that you can show them? The Doctor's like, well, no. And he's like, right, you better keep your fucking mouth shut, mate. Isn't he? Basically just
don't
like,
forget your passport.
You better shut up. You better shut up, because if you don't, I'll let them know that you're an illegal. And it's like, what the hell's going on? Basically, the Master's doing all this because he wants to, again, take advantage of sort of the power and the fluctuation that's going on here and use it to his own ends. Cool things about this story, Jo goes to an alien planet. And it terrifies her at first.
Yeah, she doesn't believe what's happening.
Because it's
Is this the first time in the series where it's bigger on the inside?
Yeah, because Jo hadn't been in the TARDIS before this. Yeah, this was the first.
She'd just seen the console.
This is the first for a few years. It's bigger on the inside moment. Yeah.
It's fleeting.
It's the first time the TARDIS has travelled. In a couple series.
The TARDIS sound.
Which the last time we heard that was last year briefly in Inferno when the console disappears. Yeah. But yeah, this was the first time we've had it, and it's hilarious because the effects guys have forgotten how dematerialization works. Do you remember? Because you hear the noise, and then it just disappears out of frame, and it's like, wait, what?
It's like you should have had a pop sound.
Yeah, that would have made it better. That would have actually made it work. We'd be like, oh, okay.
Don't worry, guys. We did do that.
We did
several times.
We filled in. The Brigadier is only at the top of this story, and then he's at the end because they reappear like 10 seconds after they left.
Whilst he's going on.
Whilst he's chundering on about
stuff. He's properly just chundering away.
Which is great. I love Joe's reaction. I love the setup of the colony. The thing that makes it boring. Here we go. Controversial opinion for sort of easily xenophobic people in the 21st century. Coming in 3, 2, 1. I find it really boring that everybody's just white.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of posh white people with funky moustaches and semi-medieval clothing.
Moustaches and posh accents. It's like
it's just really boring. It's like, wait, this is your colony, a bunch of posh people with fancy moustaches who are all middle-class white Londoners.
Oh, that lady from EastEnders.
No. Lucy has a weird kryptonite where she can't tell soaps apart.
I don't watch them.
Gail Platt from Coronation Street is in this. That woman the moment you said it with such confidence. I was like, do I do it? I've got to say it. I'm sorry, Lou. It's Coronation Street. She's from Coronation Street. She's from the Manchester set one. She's from Coronation Street. She's Gail Platt. Gail Gerbil-Face Platt.
She's still in it?
Yes.
Oh.
To this day.
She was very cute. Her hair was lovely.
She's great in this.
I did find it
everyone is good in this. Like, it's really good, but it's just I just wish there was more diversity in terms of the people there.
Yeah,
and not even necessarily, like, not like I'm saying it shouldn't be this, but not even necessarily ethnic diversity would have broken it up. Just different accents.
Yeah.
Just people from different parts of the UK would have made it, you know what I mean? It's just... It's we talked about this during Troughton's last series. The more interesting supporting characters that rocked up were the ones from different regions. Because suddenly it wasn't just a bunch of actors from Shepherd's Bush Repertory Companies going...
Yeah.
Hello, yes, I'm the Earth Delegate in the year 2042. It's just like, right, why are you just a posh white dude?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?
It makes it boring.
It's no fault of the actors, but it's just, you know, kind of... The natives are odd because their masks are great, but the costumes, unfortunately, are clearly fabric where it's meant to be skin. And it's not quite the same colour as the mask, so that kind of lets the design of them down quite a bit.
Yeah.
The Land Rover vehicle was really cool. The one that they got about in. Yeah, but that was nice. There's some great scenes with John and Roger in that as well. I think the robot creature, the servant thing that is doing the claw marks and everything is pretty cool looking for the most part. It looks like a sort of construction and destruction
like an
tool.
ice machine.
It sort of looks like a war machine got really fat.
It looks like Robot Wars on acid.
Yeah, the problem is when you stick the phony claws on it, it looks hilarious.
Danger.
And this, of course, features your favourite character from the whole of Series 8, Baby Legs. Now, Baby Legs is the head of the native colony. As we're shown that they were forced underground thousands of years ago for various reasons, and they've sort of degenerated into a more primal state. But some of their elders, including this particular one, are closer to what they used to be. They used to speak psionically. They used to have smaller, weaker, frailer bodies because they did everything with their minds, their intelligence.
They have big brains.
But it lives in a throne in the wall. And it's basically... It's basically Diddy, Dick and Dom, isn't it? It's Diddy, Dick and Dom. It's really weird. Is it on the back? It's not on the back, but it's Diddy, Dick and Dom.
Regular.
It's just...
honestly.
And it's like if you, I will let you go, but if you return here, you will be destroyed. And it's like, I can't take the threat seriously. It's a freaking Cabbage Patch Kid with some brain jelly on its head.
We were watching. I think must have been eating tea or something.
Yeah.
Or just eating tea. And it was silent as we were watching it. And then suddenly, it just erupted into laughter. So I have no idea what happened in that scene, because I was just peeing myself. And I'm still peeing myself.
Colony in space.
How? How did it happen? Did they not... What happened?
We're moving on. Colony in space.
They looked at it and went, "Oh yeah, that's convincing. That looks great."
This was my first time watching it. Power to John and Roger Delgado, because they sell these things as being serious.
They do.
They completely do it, and not in a way where it's like, guys, oh my god, poor guys. Like in a way where you're like, you know, these guys are sucking me in. The problem is,
Baby Legs
over there. This is my first time watching Colony in Space. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
It's not like a, do you know what, let's watch Colony in Space kind of story. But it's one where I'm like, if someone went, oh yeah, like, what do you think of Colony in Space? I'd be like, yeah, I'll watch it again. Why not?
There was, the only thing one of the things that got me though was there was a moment where a ship is destroyed and it leads you to think that the whole colony is on there.
That was great.
And then it exploded and it was like, oh god, all of those people died.
Oh yeah,
and it wasn't even referenced until the very end.
When you realise
when they found out that it was just the
leader. He sacrificed himself.
but we were like, oh my god, all those people.
Is no one going to stop?
Nobody's talking about it.
Is no one going to stop to acknowledge
Gale.
this genocide? Gale. Gale, you've got to get back to EastEnders. And last but certainly not least, we'll make this quick-ish, because I don't know what the memory is on the card at this point.
I need to dye my hair.
The Dæmons. This is the finale story. This was a 5-parter? Yeah. It could have been slightly shorter, but for the most part, when we were getting up to this one, you'd been a bit lukewarm on this series overall. Like, based on what you're talking about now, it seems you quite fondly remember all the stories, really, but... I remember coming to this one, this is why you were a bit reluctant. You're like, oh, not tonight. We'll watch it tomorrow. I knew this one would change your mind somewhat.
It's not the stories that I'm not interested in, it's how long it is.
For the setting. I
just start losing interest quite quickly. I'm one of those people that I have to be doing something, or something has to grab my interest, or I will have to find something else to do because my brain will switch off.
Yeah.
Not in a good way.
Oh no! So, oh no!
I will become baby legs. So there would be certain points where I'm like, and switch off. But the story I enjoy.
Yeah. Well, with the Dæmons, I was like, I think this one is going to grab you from the start.
You picked it up massively.
Did it pay off?
Yes.
What happens in the Dæmons, Lucy? What's the plot of the Dæmons?
There is a dig going on.
At Devil's End, isn't
Devil's End, something like that. And there was a paranormal show going on because it was where. Is it like devil worship or something?
It was like a significant night, and it's they're going to open up. I'll just double check what the name of it is because I don't want to get it wrong because I love the names in this one. Go ahead. Sorry.
They're filming them going into this. It looks like a mine almost. Can you not? Sorry. And something happens, obviously spooky, everything. The doctor and whoever it was that was there with him, that architect.
He's sort of like the local expert on it all.
Yeah.
Who
they
thinks
get
it's a little
frozen. When are they digging?
Yeah, and it's the Devil's Hump. It's a sort of a notable site of intrigue that they're going to open on that night.
Yeah,
which is meant to be a night of great import, and there's.
And then it all goes wrong.
Yeah, Miss Hawthorne is sort of a local modern day witch who's like been protesting wonderful. It, and she's sort of batty and Matt's.
It annoys me. I've definitely seen her in something, but I can't think what it is. It must have been an episode of Poirot or something. I don't know. But
Heartbeat or something.
Everything starts going wrong. This witch is saying, "Oh, it's because it's this day, this time of year, it's May Day, whatever." And there's somebody behind it. I wonder who it is.
Yeah, the new Reverend who's filling in for the we presume dead because I don't think it's ever explained. Reverend Canon Smallwood, who Five Who fans will probably recognise that name because we used it a good couple times, most notably in the election special I played.
Hey.
I played political correspondent Canon Smallwood.
Amazing.
Big shout out to our lovely friend Guy because that's one of his favourite names in all of Who.
Yay, we love you, Guy.
Canon Smallwood's replacement is the Reverend Magister, which, as someone points out, is what do you call it? Is it's like Latin for master?
Yeah.
Funny that anyway. Yeah, it's the master. Reason? He's helping summon the demon or the daemon. Is it Azal or Azel Azal? And you're like, wait, demons? That's not a thing. The Doctor spends a lot of time in episode 1 being like, it's a load of bullshit.
Magic is not a thing.
But then he sees that this ritual is going to happen, like, that this opening is going to happen, and he suddenly's like, right, come on, we're going to deal with it. And Joe's like, but hang on, you don't believe in magic, you keep telling me it's all bullshit, like, why would you do that? And it's only sort of like in episode 2 or 3 where he finally explains, these things that you lot refer to as demons, these horned beings and certain gods and certain deities and certain monsters, aren't that. Like, they are ancient beings that came to Earth millennia ago that, like, have ruled through either fear or through worship, etc., etc. And this is, I have a feeling, and this is one of them. And someone is trying to raise it to help, like, rend the Earth to frickin' death, because they basically judge humanity for their own needs. And the Master is, of course, doing what he always does, which is trying to raise this thing, raise Azel, through all the rituals, which are all very satanic, which is on purpose, because what we think is Satanism is just part of the things needed to do to awaken these creatures. The Master is going to take advantage of Azel and team up with him, Azal, and team up with him and
take his power, essentially.
Take his power and dominate the world. Also assisted by this gargoyle sort of homunculus, Bok, which is a creepy, cool idea until you see the goddamn thing moving in daylight for the majority of the story's runtime. And it's...
Look, the guy's obviously wearing
a grey onesie.
Flippers.
And flippers.
And he struggles to run in them.
And that damn mask.
It's fabulous.
Which could...
The thing is, though...
I still submit to you, the Midnight Society, that if Buck was shot right and you only saw Buck at night, that could be a terrifying thing.
Yeah, definitely. And if the
like this diminutive little gargoyle with its tongue out, like, leering all the time, like, that could be really spooky. Especially when you first see it and just the statue's eyes just glow red.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, that's horrifying. But then you see him running down the hill, and you're just like, oh god. Oh, it's a dude in a onesie with little wings strapped to his back.
If they'd actually matched up the colours of his costume, it might have looked half decent, but it did not.
There's the heat barrier that blows things up around the town once the rituals have started to begin around Devil's End. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
That's a great... and the effects for that are amazing when the Brigadier and his lot are just like throwing stuff at the edge of the town and you're just seeing it go poof and explode in midair. Those visual effects are great. I don't know, but they're great, aren't they?
Good, yeah.
Because they're so confident in it. They do it like 5 or 6 times with different objects, and it just looks great. So all that stuff's cool, because the Brigadier and the majority of unit are trying to get into Devil's End to help out. You have Azal. Azal rises at some point earlier in the story briefly, and the only evidence of that is the gigantic hoof prints in the ground. When Azal is eventually revealed, I love the design. Like it's this guy on the front, for those who don't know, like that fella there, because it's old school sort of like devil iconography, goatee. His face isn't necessarily, they're not trying to sell it as like his flesh. It's sort of like a mask as part of his face, and it's scary ass stuff, like the proper sort of goat legs, horns, the booming voice, the flame sort of visuals.
How did he fit in that basement area?
Green screen, mate. It wasn't a small room, it was like a catacomb.
Stairs weren't that long.
Benton and Yates have an active role because they're watching the footy and then going, oh, we'll go and we'll help them out at the start of it, which I thought was quite cool. And they get civvies. Yeah, they get stuck in. Benton punches out not the master, but the head of the town lot.
Have a fight.
Well, he has quite a few, but there's that bit at the end where like the head of the townspeople who are sort of leading the charge are like, no, don't listen to this man, we'll burn him at the stake and all this stuff. When he tries to leg it, and Benton just jumps up, sort of uses the step on Bessie to jump up and elbow the guy into the floor.
Ace. That was rewinded a few times.
Bessie,
that was ace.
It's great how Bessie is a sort of a Deus Ex Machina, but one that is set up. Like in episode 1, the Doctor and Joe are faffing around with Bessie's new voice control, and you're like, oh, that's kind of kooky, and then it never comes up again until at the end when he convinces the deranged townspeople who are all sort of the madness and the hatred that fuels Azal's presence has sort of taken over them a bit, and they're going to burn him at the maypole. And they're going to burn him at the stake as a witch.
Mayday.
Yeah, like he uses the voice command to convince them that he can control the car and the bit where he sort of makes things explode because it's just Yates with a pistol. It's Benton with a silencer on the pistol in the pub window.
How do you hear him from that far away?
Well, he does shout it out. He sort of goes, "That light over there! Look!" It's like, that scene's great because it's very Wicker Man.
Yeah, yeah.
In fact, this whole thing is like a Hammer horror sort of.
That's
pastiche.
exactly. Do you know what? That's described it. That's hit the nail on the head for me. It felt just like a Hammer horror film.
I mean, even the special feature on here about the making of the story is called where is it? The Devil Rides Out. So there's a whole Hammer horror thing about this entire story.
If you've not seen Devil Rides Out, it's freaking great.
The Master
Have you seen Devil Rides
I have
Out?
not seen Devil Rides Out.
It's really good.
The Master looks like he's been plucked out of a Hammer horror movie.
Yeah,
in
he
this.
does.
Like the big red
ceremonial
robe, his usual look with the goatee and everything. Like it all just looks so satanic. He's doing this a lot in it, like it's part of the devil worship. It's like, yeah!
I think one of the things I like about the Master is that his costume is so, like, one-toned, kind of blank, but then it's his features and his facial expression which gives him his aura and his character. The gloves make a great addition because, obviously, people wearing gloves automatically means you're a villain.
Yeah, well, you can't leave fingerprints if you're wearing gloves on the body. Yeah.
But So I'm a big fan of his costume being really plain.
Because it's sort of a blank slate that his disguises go over the top of.
It's his acting
that
gives him his character. But him wearing these robes, he just looked so cool and really, really...
Like a bad guy.
Yeah. And because it just made me laugh that the only difference of his costume was the little dog collar.
Yes, yeah.
For God's sake.
His... He gets way out of his depth in the last episode when he realises that Azala's not going to play ball. And he starts freaking out.
He wants the power. But he doesn't want to give it to him. And
Azal is almost convinced to give its power to the Doctor.
The Doctor, yeah.
And the Doctor's like, I don't freaking want it. And then the Master's like, well then give it to me!
Oh my God!
Come on!
And Jo is nearly sacrificed. We forgot to mention that.
Whilst looking fabulous the whole time.
Also wearing... What is she wearing in this episode? I think she's wearing like a suede brown... like suit with flares.
Yeah, she's got the coat with the furry collar at one point as well.
Purple boots and a purple shirt, and I was like, you look amazing. And she just goes and takes off that ceremonial white gown, classic.
Yeah, so the sacrifice sort of look.
And then comes back out and it's like, oh, Jo, you're an absolute idol. You're amazing.
So, you're not too sad to have seen the back of Liz then, after Jo's first full series?
No, I like Liz, but I think Jo...
you don't resent her as a replacement?
No.
That's a good sign, because you've got another series and a half of Jo. So.
Only a series and a half?
There's only 2 more series with John.
Oh my God!
Yeah. This is 1971 season, and there's a 72 and a 73 series.
Oh my gosh, no way. We're going to be done by the end of the year, aren't we? Yeah?
We'll be done with John you and I will be done with John probably by the end of August.
Yeah.
You guys will see that video in like September, October. And by that point we'll have passed... I think actually we're about to pass our 1 year start of the journey.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Holy balls.
Happy birthday, us.
Ish, in a way.
Do we get a cake?
Nope.
I think we should get a cake.
But we do get your thoughts summing up Season 8 by Jiminy. Oh! Chat with the wings there. 5 rounds rapid.
I was hoping you did.
Hells yes. Series 8 of Classic Doctor Who. Favourite story? I'm going to assume the Dæmons for you.
Yeah, definitely.
One you were most surprised by?
Let me see the titles again because I've forgotten.
Terror of the Autons?
No.
The Mind of Evil?
No.
The Claws of Axos?
The Claws of Axos.
Colony in Space?
I liked Colony in Space.
The Dæmons?
Dæmons was amazing.
So Dæmons is your favourite story from the series?
Yeah.
I
thought everybody was great.
You enjoyed Colony in Space and Claws of Axos?
Yes.
You like Mind of Evil, but not as much as those ones.
The concept was amazing, but it was just too long.
And you weren't a big fan of Terror of the Autons, so clearly you're a Mary Whitehouse shill.
Excuse me?
I really like this season. I call it the Master series because it is the one where he is present in every story.
Yeah.
Are you going to miss him?
The Master?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
You're not going to see him for a tiny bit now.
Why?
Because he's not in
Is that explained? Is that explained?
What do you mean? Yeah, he's arrested by Unit at the end of the Dæmons. Remember, they take him into their custody.
Oh yeah, there's no way. Because he tries to drive away, doesn't he?
Yes, and then Bessie just drives right back.
Come back.
And as he drives back, the Master just goes, just puts his hands up. He finally accepts that I'm stuck here. Like they've got me this time.
He's like a Scooby-Doo villain.
Will it make you feel better if I tell you when you'll see him next?
Yeah.
You'll see him in 3 stories' time.
Okay, so he's still okay.
But next, we begin Series 3. Do you want to know what the stories are called? Would you like a teaser of what the stories are called for Series 3? Okay, so we have... if I get this wrong, comments, apologies, but in the next video I'll obviously rectify it.
You did say you weren't going to tell me, and then you told me whilst I was trying to have a pee. So.
I didn't tell you, I offered to tell you and you didn't listen. But do you want to know? Do you want to know what the story names are? To wet your whistle. We begin with Day of the Daleks.
Oh, God.
The Daleks in colour.
Been a while.
The Daleks in colour. With some cool variants. I think it's the Curse of Paladin. It's the first of the 2 Paladin stories, which, like Spearhead and Autons, are sort of sequel stories. Okay. Yeah, I think this is the Curse of Paladin, and the Monster of Paladin is the one with Sarah Jane. It's a Paladin story.
I've never heard of that.
The Sea Devils.
I've heard of that.
Which is when we'll see the Master again. And it features one of my favourite scenes in all of Doctor Who, featuring these 2.
Is this all with the...
acting their socks off with each other whilst having fun.
Is this the sword fight?
God, yes, it's the sword fight.
Yes!
This is also the story that establishes the Master's sort of weird fascination with Earth children's programmes.
Oh God, I'm glad you finished that story.
No, God. We like in Sound of Drums, he's watching Teletubbies.
Why would anybody... Oh, you've got to be evil to watch Teletubbies.
Yeah, well, he's fascinated by them having televisions in their stomachs. In this, he's sat down in his prison room, basically box setting the clangers. So the Sea Devils, which is pretty great. It's a bit long, but it's really, really cool, and it's also kind of a sequel to the Silurians in a way. Then we have got the Mutants, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I've only watched it once, so I'll probably get more from it this time. Which was originally going to be the title of the Dalek story from Series 1. It was called The Mutants. That's what the first episode that was called, and that was what the story technically was called.
Right.
But then they renamed it The Daleks, because there was one later on called The Mutants, so no, forget it. And then it ends on The Time Monster, which is another story with the Master, which, again, is not amazing, but there's some cool stuff in there. 5 stories, just like this series. Doctor and Joe, it's sort of an extension of this year, but with more varied threats and some more off-world stuff. Mm-hmm. So, you looking forward to our next part of the journey?
Yes.
Then we will see you next time, where we'll talk about Series 9, you little rum buggers. Wave goodbye, Joe. Say goodbye. Joe, no, Joe. Joe, I can't reach the button. Ah!